All right, we talked about ChatGPT and how you can use it to write copy easily. We also talked about how ChatGPT is no longer going to be a differentiator for marketers because everyone's going to be writing copy with ChatGPT, and thus any sort of advantage that you'll have gained will disappear over the long run. So if we want to leverage ChatGPT, or I guess any other tool for that matter, we have to use that tool in innovative ways that other people aren't using it for. One of those ways is writing code. ChatGPT, I think, is 10 times better at writing code than writing copy. It's more impressive, and you're going to get a lot more leverage, bang for your buck, if you use it as your kind of co-pilot or intern developer. To show you what I mean, let's take a little example. Now, here is Instagram's Explore page. Let's pretend that I am a new Instagram user, and I have all these suggestions of people to follow. Now, I could go in and click each follow button. Let's do that. But let's say I'm feeling a little bit lazy about doing that, and I want that to be automated. I can get ChatGPT to actually write me code that does that. Now, in order to have that code execute, I need to know a few things. I need to go into Inspect. I'm using Chrome right now. Right click and then hit Inspect. And what that will do is it will bring up this panel here where you can see the source code. There's a few different other options over here. I'm going to click on Console. And when I click on Console, I see this little cursor over here where I can enter things. What this allows you to do is this allows you to write code that will be executed on this site. Now, this is only going to be executed on your computer. It's not going to be executed elsewhere. So, for example, I can say alert. This is an alert. It shows up over here. What I'm doing is I'm writing JavaScript that executes and looks like it's coming from this site. So I'm going to have ChatGPT go and write some code that will let me do this. All right. Write me code in JavaScript that puts all that I can enter into my browser's console and clicks all of the buttons that have the text follow. It even gives you instructions on how to run this if you want. So as you can see here, even if you don't know how to code, ChatGPT gives you all of the comments on what this code does. And you can kind of glean some information here. It says, if the button's text is follow, button click. You can kind of figure out what that means. Now, if I am clicking all of these follow buttons, it's going to happen really, really fast because this code is executed kind of live. So what I want to do is I want to add a little bit of a delay after clicking each button. So I'm going to go back to ChatGPT and say, update the code to include a 4-second delay after each button is clicked. ChatGPT writes and updates the script, and it lets you know exactly how we're including that 4-second. It's using the set timeout that it included over here. So what I can do is I can just go in, copy this, go into Instagram, and paste this over here. And take a look at what happens to all of these buttons. Clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're trying to click these. There we go. It clicks this, waits 4 seconds, clicks this, waits 4 seconds, and so on. I'm going to go and shut this down because I don't want all these people to be followed. ChatGPT is also great for writing code that has to do with tracking. So what we just did is an example that has to do with automation, but we can use ChatGPT to write code that implements something like Mixpanel or Amplitude in order to track events on our site. You can also use ChatGPT to implement code that implements Facebook's pixel on your site, and to do it in different and custom ways that you might not have been able to do it before without a developer. For those of you who don't know what a Facebook pixel is, just think of it as a snippet of code that you include on your website in order to have Facebook's ads. So if you're running ads, in order to tell Facebook when a person has completed an event successfully. So if I'm running ads for an e-commerce site, I'll include the Facebook pixel. And if somebody makes a purchase, that code snippet will tell Facebook, oh, this person who clicked on the ad made that purchase, and that was a successful event. Let's go back to ChatGPT. Oopsie. I'm going to say, write JavaScript code that I can include in my website in order to, let's think about this a little bit more. Write JavaScript to implement Facebook's pixel into our website. So here is the code that is used to implement Facebook's pixel. So it says your pixel ID goes here. That's where your pixel ID, which is an ID that Facebook will assign to you if you start running ads, that's where you'd put this. And as you can see, ChatGPT is explaining exactly what is going on. Now, let's say that we want to fire a specific event. We want to fire the purchase event whenever somebody successfully makes a purchase. And let's say that when a purchase is made, it goes to a URL which contains thank you in it. So update the code above to fire the standard Facebook purchase event whenever the URL contains. ChatGPT goes in, takes the code, and makes that update. So as you can see here, if the URL contains thank you, the pixel is, the purchase event is fired. All right, now, what if somebody accidentally refreshes their browser? Then the purchase event will fire multiple times. So we can have ChatGPT make it so that the purchase event only fires once for each user. Update the code. Only fire the purchase event once per unique user. It's going to make that update. So it's going to make it so that you can't accidentally fire that purchase event multiple times. And it tells you how it does it. It uses cookies and it names a cookie has purchased. As you can see here, ChatGPT is incredibly powerful when it comes to code. If you are a marketer who doesn't know how to develop, all you need to know is how code works. So for example, in the follow button example, I knew that I could go into console and run code from there. In order to implement this, I can use something like Google Tag Manager, but you no longer need to know how to code from scratch. It's almost like having your own developer intern who's working with you. And that is how you'll truly utilize ChatGPT in order to create a competitive advantage, because not many marketers are going to do this. All right, we're going to go and do one more video, which shows an a more advanced example of this, and it's really cool.